So 6 months ago, you joined Big Fuel as CEO after spending obviously many years at Jon Bond, Senecal & Partners, and really establishing that as, you know, what many have called such a great example of an integrated marketing agency. As someone who has a finger on the pulse of advertising's future, what was it about Big Fuel's model that really attracted you and felt like that was something you wanted to be a part of?
Well, first of all, I didn't like the moniker traditional agency. So the minute that people applied that to me, I went, oh, I don't want to be that. Mm-hmm. So I really was looking for something that's exciting, that has the energy level that I think the traditional agency world had when I got into it. And you know, after looking around, I met with 150 companies. The reason that I was attracted to Big Fuel is there is no social media agency that's really a famous brand name. You know, like years ago in the digital world, Digitas and Razorfish and AKQA, there isn't one of those. And so my thought was, hey, Big Fuel's in one of the best positions to become that. It's maybe the biggest independent social media agency in the world. And so I saw a very clear, you know, road to becoming a major global brand and to being one of the 3 or 4 brands in the next couple of years that everyone's going to know, and that's associated with social media.
But not so long ago, you were working on developing this marketing services cooperative as sort of an alternative to the traditional advertising holding company model. What caused you to change course?
Well, the premise is not that dissimilar, which was, I thought, well, there needs to be a new holding company model. And then in the course of the year, social media emerged as, you know, the most important of all of these new disciplines. And so my focus shifted from holding company to put social media at the center.
From a client perspective, how does a social media agency such as Big Fuel sort of fit into their arsenal of agency relationships, and how do you sort of rise above the quote-unquote vendor status?
Right. Well, you know, first of all, social media itself has to become more important, and it has, because you're never going to get to the grown-up table unless you're dealing with things that are the big, important grown-up issues. So we always like to say we're the new seat at the table in the CMO agency of record table. And I think that social media is a very different animal than the other agencies who are at that table. And one main reason is because we're in, you know, the earned space, and the easiest way to get earned media is to leverage all the assets you have. So we're the only agency that can't succeed without intense collaboration with all the other agencies.
Let's talk about branded content, because I know obviously that's sort of what Big Fuel is built on, this concept, or founded on this concept that branded content is what's necessary to drive consumer engagement. And we've heard a lot of talk these days about content being king for marketers. And you know, define that importance.
Well, I mean, I think it's, you know, again, there's so much terminology being used in the space, and it's like a lot more confusing than it ever has to be. So I always try to explain it, you know, in terms of things people already know. I mean, content's what people talk about. If you want people to talk, you got to stimulate them and give them something. There is you know, in diving, there's a degree of difficulty when you dive, right? Straight dive is easy, and then you get extra points. So the thing about that is that the clients whose brands are intrinsically entertaining have a huge advantage, because they can get closer into the product.
Sure.
You know, if you've got a super fast sports car, or even if you're Coke, you know, there's Nike, there's stuff that's just interesting, right? So all of those people are doing real well. Starbucks is doing a great job, by the way. Starbucks owns Facebook. They're just connected to everybody in the whole country. But again, that's still something that's more interesting. If Tide detergent has high engagement, I'm a little more it's got a higher degree of difficulty. So you really gotta, because the thing about social media is you don't have to do it, it's voluntary. You can't buy time on the word of mouth channel, you have to earn it. And you really have to attack people's passions. And the issue is when those passions are very far away from what the actual product does, then you've got to build this bridge, and that's really where the art and science comes in.